What's going on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family? I'm your guy, Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. On this channel, we focus on fragrance and fashion. I think it's important if you're going to smell good, then you might as well look good as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and take a quick second, if you don't mind, man, and hit the bell icon as well. That way you get notified every time I release a new video. So today, guys, you are in for a treat because I am doing an epic battle. I'm going to be talking about 5 of the most mass appealing fragrances that have been released in the last 10 years. 5 of these fragrances are going to do battle today. So which one is going to come out on top? Now, I don't want to assume anything here that everybody that is going to come across this video understands what a mass appealing fragrance is. So if you don't, let me break it down for you. A mass appealing fragrance basically is a fragrance that more than likely when you wear it, most people are going to think you smell great. Most people find it appealing and is relatively easy to wear in pretty much any scenario that you find yourself in. So again, today I have 5 of the most mass appealing fragrances that have been released over the last 10 years, and they are going to do battle. Today we're going to be looking at these 5 fragrances: Versace Dylan Blue, Dior Sauvage, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon, Acqua Di Gio Profumo, and of course, Bleu De Chanel. So if you want to hear which one of these fragrances come out on top, then you know how we do, you know how we get down. Keep it locked right here. All right, guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in, man. Let's go ahead and jump right into this battle royale. So today we're going to be looking at 4 different categories to determine which one of these fragrances come out on top. We're going to be looking at, number 1, the cost. Number 2, we're going to be looking at the versatility. Number 3, we're going to be looking at the compliment factor. And number 4, we're going to be looking at the overall performance. First up, let's look at the overall cost of these fragrances. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail about what each one of these fragrances cost because honestly, depending on where you look, you're going to find these fragrances at different prices. But what I do know for a fact, out of these 5 fragrances, the fragrance that is the most difficult to find at a discounted price would be this one right here. Anything from the Bleu De Chanel line. Chanel fragrances in general are harder to come across on what we refer to as the gray markets, which are sites where you would typically find fragrances at a heavily discounted price. So of all the 5 fragrances that are been mentioned today on this video, Bleu De Chanel is the one fragrance that it is not easily accessible on discounted sites. So for that reason alone, this fragrance is the hardest to come by. So this fragrance will be, I guess, in last place if we're just looking at the cost factor alone. With that being said, when we look at all 5 of these offerings, I think the one that is the least expensive and the most accessible of all 5 would be this one right here, Versace Dylan Blue. Versace Dylan Blue. While of the other 5 offerings, the other 4, it is pretty easy to find them on discounted sites. Most iterations of Dior Sauvage still fetch a pretty relatively high cost comparatively speaking to the other fragrances on this list. Most of these Dior Sauvage iterations of this fragrance, you're still looking at between that $75 to $105 price point on most discounted sites. So this would be the second least cost effective. So this would be the second least cost-effective fragrance on this list. The third least cost-effective is going to be this one right here, Acqua Di Gio Profumo. This one is kind of still holding its value even on the gray markets as well. Still looking at, in most cases, paying over $70 for this fragrance. So that leaves these 2 when it comes to cost. And honestly, you can find both of these fragrances Most of the time around the same price point, but in most cases, this is going to be the least expensive or the most cost-effective offering of the 5 that we're mentioning today. As a matter of fact, you can even find Dylan Blue in some of your rack stores. And for those of you that don't know what rack stores are, we're talking about the Marshalls of the world, the TJ Maxxes of the world as well. Of all 5 of these fragrances listed, this is the only one that I've ever seen in a rack store. So with that being said, this is the most accessible fragrance, and this is the most cost-effective offering of all 5. All right, up next, guys, let's look at the performance. Now, all of these fragrances share a very similar DNA to some extent. And all 5 of these fragrances, they share a lot of the same notes. Primarily, you're going to find patchouli in most of these offerings. You're going to find ambroxan in a lot of these offerings as well. And you're going to find incense. Now, kind of have the same makeup, so to speak. So when we start talking about performance, they are all really, really close. With them being so versatile as far as seasons, most of these fragrances you can wear in any season, whether it be spring, summer, fall, or winter. You can pretty much wear these fragrances in all 4 seasons. So the performance varies a little bit with each of these fragrances in the season, contingent upon the season that you're going to wear them. But overall, they all get about that 6.5, 7.5, sometimes 8 hours of complete longevity on your skin. So with that being said, if I had to choose one, for me personally, sometimes I kind of give the nod to this one right here, Acqua Di Gio Profumo, at least on my skin. Again, this is so close that it's hard to call as it relates to performance, but overall, consistently, I would have to give a slight, just a slight nod to Acqua Di Gio Profumo. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is the compliment factor. Now again, mass appealing fragrances, hey, all of these fit that category. So when you wear these scents, most of the time, if folks come into contact with you, they're going to think that you smell good. Now that doesn't always mean that you're going to get a compliment, but again, most of these are pretty safe fragrances to wear when you talk about being around other folks and them not being offended by what it is that you're wearing. But in my experience, the one of these fragrances that have gotten me the most compliments is this one, Dior Sauvage. Dior Sauvage for me has gotten me the most compliments, and I have worn most of these. I've given them their fair share. This fragrance is all the way down to here, so I've worn that a lot. Carbon is down to here, so I've gotten good wear out of this one. I have 2 different iterations of Bleu De Chanel, and this is the EDP. That's all the way down to here, so I've gotten good wear out of that. Acqua Di Gio Profumo, all the way down to here, so I've gotten significant wear out of that. And I have all 3 iterations of Dior Sauvage, and this bottle, the EDP, is down to about right here. And my EDT is almost gone, and I've got about half the bottle left of the Parfum. So I have all different iterations of that. So all of these fragrances have gotten pretty significant wear and been in my rotation, so I've had a chance to wear them. But again, ultimately for me, the one that has gotten me the most unsolicited compliments has been Dior Sauvage. And last but not least, we're going to look at the versatility factor. So all 5 of these fragrances pretty much can be worn in any season. Now where we start to have a little bit of a difference in the versatility is occasions. I feel like of all 5 of these, Dylan Blue is the most limited. This fragrance comes across to me as a little bit more juvenile. So to me, that is for a little bit more of a younger crowd. And with that being said, although I still like it and I still wear it, but I don't really see that as a fragrance that you could wear more in a dressier or formal type of occasion. Now, the fragrance of these 5 that I would give the nod to as far as versatility is going to be this one right here, which is Bleu De Chanel. Bleu De Chanel to me is the most versatile of the bunch, because this fragrance, along with Acqua Di Gio, would be a close second, is the fragrance that I could see you wearing from a very casual situation, running errands, to wearing it as a great work scent, all the way up until wearing it with formal attire. So I think overall, again, the versatility now for me is going to have to go to this one right here, Bleu De Chanel. So with all these fragrances being so similar in these different categories, how do we determine the winner of this battle? Well, let's take a look at it. When we look at all 4 categories that we've covered today, when we talk about the versatility factor, all of these fragrances are relatively close when it comes to the versatility factor. We talk about performance, they're relatively close when it comes to performance. We talk about the complement factor, they're relatively close. Cost, we have a little bit of a difference there. But let's go back down the line. When we talk about versatility, that's something that some people care about. When we talk about performance, that's something that some people care about. When we talk about the complement factor, that's something that some people care about. But when we talk about cost, that's something that most people care about. And with that being said, it comes down to these 2. Versace Dylan Blue and Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. And if I had to give the nod to one of these, I would give the nod to Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. Because although you can't find this one in discounters yet, or at least I haven't found it, it's very close in comparison to this one when you talk about cost. Although you can find, I've found this one in discounts before, but this one is a little bit more mature and it offers a little bit more versatility to me than Dylan Blue. So with all things considered, although this one was not first place in any of the respective categories, ultimately, I think in all categories considered, this is going to probably be the most bang for your buck. So guys, that's it. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video as I kind of compared and contrasted and did this battle of 5 of the most mass appealing fragrances that have been released since the year of 2010. As always, I always appreciate your time and attention to these videos because of course I know you didn't have to watch this. You could have been doing something else, but you took a few moments to watch, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now don't forget, if you don't mind, to take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining, because I am Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I enjoy looking good and smelling absolutely amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.